You're listening to Filmmakers Drinking Bourbon. Hey everybody, what's up? It's Brandon.
And this is Alex.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're filmmakers.
And we're also drinking bourbon.
Cheers.
Cheers. Speaking of bourbon, what's this?
Oh, I thought today we would kick it back to the old school. Maybe your high school days, your college days with a classic Jim Beam.
Jim Beam, I like it. Sweet, it's tasty.
Speaking of tasty, how about this third party we have in the mix today?
Our new guy.
Ryan Woolfolk.
Mr. Ryan Woolfolk. What's up, man?
So, what are you doing on the show?
I have no idea.
Our first guest doesn't know why he's here.
Doesn't know what's going on. So tell us about yourself, Ryan. What do you do? Are you a filmmaker? Are you in the industry? Talk a little bit about what it is you do.
I am not a filmmaker anymore. Yeah, I wanted to be an editor. Went to school for editing. Loved it. And then my first job, I had to do some After Effects work and got hooked.
So you're a post guy.
So now, post.
Sweet.
Animation, motion graphics, all day long. Yep.
I'd still call you a filmmaker.
All right.
Well,
animated films.
So me and Ryan go way back.
Yeah.
Listeners might not know that. We go way back. And actually, our first project together was a 48-hour film.
That's true. Yeah.
So, your roots were you were the DP on that film. It was called, was it called 8 Ball?
Ask Again Later.
Ask Again Later?
Yeah.
It made it to the finals, didn't it?
It did.
It was a classic.
It won some awards.
We're gonna, you know what? For the listeners out there, we'll try to find that and dig that up from the archives and post that on the website.
Nice.
Our special guest Ryan Woolfolk's maybe his first and last DP credit.
It could be. Yeah.
He did a hell of a job. It was great.
I think I've actually seen that film a long time
Yeah.
ago.
If you like to watch people run,
Huh?
I said if you like to watch people run.
Oh, yeah.
That's all that happens.
Yeah, it was great.
That's awesome.
But it was a lot of fun. But Ryan here, he helped. He co-founded LEAPframe with me. We started this 3 years ago, and he's on the digital. Well, actually, he's on the motion design side of things. I'm on the digital film side of things, and so there's just a nice balance. We've found a way to work together, and there's nothing he can't do.
Yeah.
So
There's some things I cannot do. Yeah.
Like a backflip, a standing backflip.
Can't do a backflip.
Can't do that? Nah.
But we're so excited to have you on the show, and that begs the first question that we always ask on the show is, what have you been watching, man? What's the stuff you're into right now?
Well, normally I watch cartoons. I watch a lot of cartoons. We just got Netflix, so I've been catching up on everything everyone's been telling me I need to be watching. So I'm about to finish season 3 of Breaking Bad.
Ooh, nice.
There you go.
It's a pretty awesome
Welcome
show.
welcome to the past.
Yes. Yeah, it's great. I've actually been really impressed. The first season was a little slow, but the second 2 seasons, or second and third seasons are...
It only gets better, too. So just wait.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time.
But I did watch... I usually don't watch film. I got 2 little kids, and that kind of cuts in on my film viewing. But I did watch Nightcrawler.
Oh
my God.
Man, dude.
Which was...
Jake.
What'd you think?
Mr. Gyllenhaal.
What'd you think?
Dude, I liked it. It was cool, but it was super creepy.
Disturbing, right?
Yeah, it's disturbing.
Yeah.
What was your
But it's
favorite
awesome.
scene?
I don't know, the thing that sticks out in my head the most, and this might be because I had a previous conversations before I saw it. Some guy was like, when you see this look, you'll know it. But when I don't want to give anything away. Spoiler.
You were not going to give it away.
Okay. When he's sitting in the police station and the lady walks out, the detective walks out, and he just looks up at the camera.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. That's
It was
killer.
super creepy. It was because he acknowledges it at first. He's like, yep, that's a wide angle. And it's almost like I don't know. It was
Oh, he's
it was
messed
a creepy
up in
look.
that movie.
I love the scene where is it Rene Russo?
Yeah.
Is that who that is? Yeah.
No. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
He's in the newsroom with her, and he's giving her the truth, and he's like,
Oh, my God.
he just wigs out and has this great monologue where
When
he's
I tell
like,
you a price,
when
that's the
I
price.
tell you what
Trust
to
that I
do,
came
that's
to
the
it."
price. And when we're in the bedroom, I don't want you to question. And it was just like, oh my God.
He's a maniac.
He was awesome.
Plus, he's like 40 pounds lighter than you've ever seen him.
Yeah. But the thing I love about his role in that film, and any role like that or films like that, where every actor has their sort of what they do, right? Mm-hmm. So Clooney will always be Clooney to some extent.
He'll be suave. Yeah.
Certain actors, what's his name from Dallas Buyers Club?
McConaughey.
McConaughey is going to have a certain thing that he does
rubbing his fingers
most
together,
of the time. But what's really cool are when those guys have a film where they transform and they are able to get beyond themselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what Jake Gyllenhaal did in that film. He became somebody else in a lot of ways.
Kind of. I would argue that he's always creepy.
Yeah, he's got a little creepy edge to him.
Like,
but
he's fantastic.
But in general, like, he became a different guy.
Yeah, well, he embodied that character for sure. I think he lost part of himself.
Yeah.
Now he's doing
hopefully he's not showing his true self.
Ooh, that'd be weird.
So aside from that, you say cartoons. What kind of cartoons are you into? Are you into like some weird stuff or what?
It's like an anime or cartoon.
Do what?
Anime or cartoon?
No, I'm not into anime.
Yeah.
I never got into that too much, but
tunes, little kid tunes.
Yeah, I mean, I got 2 little kids. I do watch a lot of.
So it makes sense.
Little kid cartoons, but I mean, regular show just started. I guess their new season started last night, so that was. I don't know why I love that cartoon. The Amazing World of Gumball is pretty awesome. Adventure Time is awesome.
Nice. So when you watch, as filmmakers, when we watch movies, sometimes it's hard to enjoy the movie because we're constantly looking at, the angles, the shot selections, and we're looking at it through a different lens. Where, do you do the same thing as a motion designer when you watch these cartoons? Are you looking at it and you're looking at the frames and how they're drawn and how they're cut and how they're animated? Talk about that.
Yeah. So, I recently started doing like character animation work. But before that, it was like when I watch it, there's some things you can do in After Effects. I'm trying to think of. Hold on. Can we cut this?
No, we don't cut. This is live. This is live. Yeah.
Just roll with it.
Just go with it, man. There's no rules. We're not bogged down by the man.
Can we cut? No, sir, we
This
cannot.
guy.
I thought you guys were like filmmakers. You can
We
edit.
don't know how to cut.
All right. So Wonder Pets.
Yeah.
It's annoying. Like the voices. You've seen Wonder Pets.
Love
right?
Wonder Pets. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Okay. So the voices in Wonder Pets
see who he is.
are
I haven't seen Wonder
super
Pets.
annoying.
It's because you don't have kids. But you're about to get married, so that could change.
It'll probably be off the air by the time we have kids.
No, like kids shows stick around.
Yeah.
They don't make new episodes. They just keep playing the same old episodes.
Replays.
So Wonder Pets, you were breaking
Wonder
down
Pets.
Wonder Pets.
Well, I wasn't breaking it down. I just I heard it. It was annoying. My kids were watching it. They seemed to like it. I glanced at the TV and I'm like, how are they? It was that kind of thing. Like I saw how they were. I was like, this is not 3D. It's kind of stop motion. It's like a stop motion style, but it's not stop motion, and it looks like all images. And so I recently found out that they animate that whole show in After Effects. And they took images, they brought baby animals in to the studio, took 360-degree photos of all the baby animals, retouched them, and then created these puppets in After Effects.
Break them apart to move them and stuff? Weird.
Yeah, I mean, the rigs are crazy. Like,
I feel like I need to see an image of this now to know what you're talking about.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like South Park.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Okay.
But with real, like
So they're flat images, but they look 3D because they're pictures.
Yeah, and the way they've got it rigged, they can, like, if one of them's turning its head, it goes through different poses, so it looks 3D, like it's turning its head.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So it's that kind of stuff. Like when I'm watching, it's like, okay, well, how do they, like, that one is like little kid as that is, it like threw me. I was
Sounds
like, whoa, that's kind of like amazing.
So you would say that, to the viewers and the listeners, when we watch cartoons, when we watch even something as simple as Wonder Pets with our kids, there's a lot more going on there than just, a little cut and paste.
Yes. Yeah, I think because I looked it up. I mean, you can get on Wikipedia and read about there's some name. I don't even know if it had been done. Somebody like coined some new term for like the process. I can't remember what it is now, for the process of this style of animation. And I think it takes them, and it's two episodes in one 30-minute show. So for like a 12 and a half minute episode, it takes them, I think, a month of production.
Wow.
What?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I wonder why they went that route versus one of the others.
I don't know. I mean, if you
Go
It
3D.
looks cool, man. It
looks
looks cool. It looks
really
like it's all
cool.
cut out,
Yeah.
and it's like this weird thing, man.
It's just crazy.
But the hamster's dope, dude. He's got a cape.
I mean,
It's
just even in a kid show, there's still some expert craftsman behind the scenes,
Yeah.
like exerting his control and like this is gonna be perfect, and
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
That's crazy. So, well, that's cool, man. That's awesome. Well, I definitely want to come back to some of your experience with motion design and as it relates to filmmaking. But we're still sort of on the topic. Alex, what have you been watching, man?
Well, Kristen and I just started season 2 of True Detective.
It dropped like last night, right?
Yeah, we watched it last night. It's
Well, actually, this is going
Or
to
2
release
nights
on
ago.
Friday.
yeah,
So let's do the math. It dropped on
it dropped on
like 4 nights ago.
Sunday, Monday. Yeah, I don't know when it dropped, but
Sure.
my buddy Brad, music video director Brad Gollowin up in
Yeah, which he's supposed to be on the show.
Columbia. Yeah, we'll get him on the show.
Come on, Brad.
He'll come on. He's actually busy finishing up a short film that we shot that's getting ready to go
Gotcha.
out to festivals and stuff. So
Right on.
busy dude. Anyway, watch True Detective.
So is he
and
good?
I still like season 1 better,
Well,
but I think
yeah.
just because it hasn't gotten into season 2 yet. So, but Colin Farrell right off the bat
Love
is
him.
like insane.
Yeah.
and it's amazing. He's the biggest badass that you've ever seen.
Yeah, that's great. Did you get to see the season 1, Ryan, on that?
No.
Dude,
I
that's
wanted
gotta
to see
be
it.
in
Speaking of
your queue.
McConaughey, yeah.
It's got to be
Yeah.
in your queue.
But they replaced both. Who are the two?
Now it's Colin Farrell and Vince Vaughn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which you wouldn't think. Yeah,
Yeah,
Vince
he's
Vaughn is
more
a
serious.
comedic actor. He does a good job.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to point out right now for all the listeners, you guys are filmmakers out there. I actually consulted with my tax accountant, and I asked him, I said, hey, can we claim and write off, all the services like Hulu, HBO Now,
Yep.
all these sorts of things? Because for us, that's reference. That's where we study. That's
It's
where we
research.
get better. It's
Yeah.
research. And he said absolutely that would be a reasonable claim on your taxes. So
Yep.
definitely all you listeners out there, keep your receipts
Here's a pro tip.
for all those services, and make sure you submit them because that's where we get better as filmmakers is watching other people's stuff. So,
Analyze. Yep.
Yeah.
You got to know what's been done so you can do something new.
absolutely.
Movies
That's great.
too. Go to the theater. You pay $10, write it off on your taxes.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I've been watching, I love documentaries. So just about every time we get on the show, I have a documentary. And the last one I watched over the weekend was it's called Buck. And it's about the guy who was, they based the character of the Horse Whisperer on. Wow. What a great doc. This guy, he was abused when he was little and by his father. And he never wanted to repeat that. And he loved horses. He grew up, in the West. He was a trick roper. And he was determined to not repeat his father's footsteps. And so he has found a way to train horses in a very gentle manner. And while other people break in colts and mustangs
Yeah.
with force
Whips and
and
kicks,
with whips, he doesn't do any of that. And the guy is magical. And so he goes around the country and he puts on these clinics. And it was just a great little story and some great shots of the West and just really, really beautiful stuff.
Is it
So-
a new one?
It's on Netflix. I don't think it's not new, but it's
Yeah, new to
it's
you.
been on my list. It's been in my queue.
Buck.
Buck. It's
Very
called
cool.
Buck.
to
Highly
check it out.
recommend it. Great doc. So
Very nice.
all right,
There
man.
you go.
So seems like everybody's watching stuff. That's good. Right? We're getting
always,
better.
Always watching and learning.
So if we're learning and we're doing stuff, what's everybody working on? Alex, what about you?
Well, let's start with you, man. What have you been working
come
on?
man.
Yeah, we're
Not
going to
working
go
on anything.
reverse here.
I'm working on
We're
a
gonna go
lot.
reverse.
Man, I'll tell you what. I can't wait until I can start talking about projects.
Yeah.
Every week it seems like, oh yeah, there was this thing, it was gonna happen and it got postponed. Client delayed. I was talking about that last week.
Just the nature of the business.
It happens. But we're doing some stuff now. We teased last week that we were gonna have our friends from Dissolve stock footage on the show. And it just didn't work out schedule wise
it's still
to
gonna
have them
happen,
on.
though.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
But we've been working on some projects with an advertising agency where we're taking stock footage and found footage, sort of, ripped footage from the internet. It's an internal project. And we're cutting it up to, some music and creating these sort of like mood board pieces almost.
Yeah.
Ways
Style.
agencies do this sort of thing to kind of pitch a broader idea.
Yep.
So I've been doing that. It's okay. It's cool. We're having fun.
But one of your projects was in there, remember? In the reference?
Yeah, actually, the client sent us a reference and they said, hey, we want you to do something kind of like this. And sure enough, they had pulled a clip from my documentary, Art and Craft, A Tale of Beer and Brushes. So they ripped my clip.
That's hilarious.
And it was kind of funny to see. So
They ripped your clip, but then came
I don't
to
know that they knew it was mine. Yeah, I don't know.
You don't what?
I don't know if they knew it was mine or not. They just grabbed it.
They
hope
just
so.
loved it. They saw it and loved
Yeah.
it and said, do this.
Yeah.
That's
We
cool.
got to work with this guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Which actually, that project, we got 2 tellies for.
You got 2 tellies. Didn't you get some
I'm
Addies and
gonna
stuff?
toot my own horn.
Man.
We got 2 tellies.
You're just racking up the awards.
2 tellies. It was nice.
For what category?
Well, one was just for online documentary, and the other one was actually for cinematography.
Yeah.
I know,
And
Alex.
you shot that.
There you
It breaks
go.
your heart, doesn't it, buddy?
It breaks my heart. I wasn't able to be involved, and you.
Every project I shoot,
You're
Alex
stealing-
cries a little
stealing
bit.
my awards.
His bank account drops a little lower.
It does.
I love you, buddy.
Dropping low.
So, what about you?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Well, I think we already talked about that crazy week I had the other week with the Halloween project or Halloween decorations and the music video. This week, actually, I've completely taken the week off.
Nice.
No work whatsoever because I'm getting ready for the wedding.
There it is.
So
You're getting married.
Yeah, I'm getting married. I think we teased that. We talked about that.
Yeah, because I'm officiating the wedding.
You're officiating the wedding.
I'm
It's going
the
to be
official.
live streamed to all our viewers. No, I'm just kidding. It's not because it's very private and personal. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. So that's on. That's this
Ryan, you're going
weekend.
to be there, right?
I'll be there.
Ryan's
course
going to be
Ryan's
there.
gonna
I'm
Of course
attending.
Ryan's gonna be
Can't
there.
have a wedding without Ryan.
He'll animate it for you, and we'll put that up.
So, well, that's cool, man. You needed a break. You were busy.
Yeah. So we're doing that, and then on Monday, directly after the wedding, we're going to Mexico for a week.
Sweet
So,
action,
yeah.
dude. Are you going to shoot anything?
No, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to sit there with my new wife, and maybe we'll go check out some like Mayan ruins or
Nice.
something.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, if you, Ryan, if he gets kidnapped or gets murdered in Mexico,
Then you got a story.
Maybe you can be the co-host.
Ryan will be the co-host, and you guys will make a movie about my kidnapping.
And then, it'll be filmmakers and motion designers drinking bourbon.
Yes.
So,
Anyway,
what about
Ryan's
you,
gonna be
Ryan?
at the wedding. Yeah. What have you
What
been
you been working on?
What have I been working on? Well, I just finished a rough draft of, or a rough cut of a project it's a heavy character piece for Cintas, which should be pretty cool. Brought in Danny Dufford, a
Yeah.
local illustrator.
Ooh, great illustrator.
Great
yeah.
Did an
storyboard
awesome job,
artist.
yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, it's cool. It's like it's the first. I think it's the first project we've done where it's all custom. There's no stock anything. I mean, it looks nice. So I'm excited to get that one done. It's in legal right now, and they could pull the plug on the whole thing, which would
Whoa.
be horrible.
No.
You never know. So talk about that project a little
Have
bit.
faith.
What kind of, you've got a lot of character rigging and character moving going on there. My guess is there might be some other motion designers or some filmmakers who are dipping their toes into After Effects.
Yeah.
Break this project down for us. Let's just say in the opening sequence, there's a delivery man who brings a box, and in the box is a giant Venus flytrap. The Venus flytrap explodes out of the box, and he's kind of erratic. He grabs the woman in the scene, the girl that he was delivering the box to. The man saves the day, rescues the girl, and pushes the Venus flytrap back in the box, I think.
That is deep.
Yeah.
So in just that little moment there of delivery of the box, talk about how did you do that? How did you bring those characters to life?
Well, I will start by saying this is a whole new process to me, and I'm going through. At night, I usually help. I'm helping with School of Motion has some boot camps, and they've got animation boot camp. So I help critique that, and they've come out with a character animation boot camp that it's in beta right now. So I'm going through helping work out the kinks or whatever.
So what was that again? Our listeners might be interested in taking that course. So who is it with?
School of Motion,
Okay.
schoolofmotion.com.
School of Motion.
We'll put this on the FDB site, by the
Yep.
way.
Yeah. So there's tons of free tutorials on it anyway. Joey Kornman, he is the head of School of Motion, and
That's the guy we hung out with at NAB, right?
Yes.
Joe. What's up, Big Joe out there? Hope you're listening.
He's just like a natural teacher. So if you want, to me, it's the best source for After Effects learning. You can get on, take some free things. If you want to get deeper, you can pay to take some courses or whatever. I'm 2 weeks into the character animation boot camp, and I've already realized how much I did incorrectly on the Cintas project, which
Really?
I knew was going to happen. Yeah.
Wow. So it's that good.
Yeah, it's that good.
Man.
Or I'm that bad, I'm not sure.
Nah.
But
Like you said, it's a new venture. Yeah.
yeah, it's a new adventure.
So in layman's terms, again, like our listeners, this is going to be way over their head, but in layman's terms, how do you get a Venus flytrap to explode out of a box and look somewhat like good?
I mean, like, well, there's the animation principles. I don't know how, like, this is going to get
I can
kinda
tell you.
nerdy.
It's one word. Keyframes.
It's a lot of keyframes.
It's okay to get nerdy, but
Okay.
just try to keep it concise because, again, they're like these guys listening aren't going to, like, don't go too far over their heads. So go ahead and get nerdy because you're a nerd. Go ahead and get nerdy for
We
me.
like
All right, so Disney, like if you look at a Disney film, and I remember this as a kid, like I think it was All Dogs Go to Heaven, which is not a Disney film,
Solid film.
and you watch that, it leaves you, like for me, and I've heard other people had the same like kind of feeling. You watch a Disney film, it's great, you love it, whatever, depending on the film, I guess. And then as a kid, I watched All Dogs Go to Heaven or something, or Fievel Goes West, something that's not Disney, and it left me feeling weird. Like there was something off.
Just a different way they animate?
Just, yeah. And so there's 12, like the Disney animators back in the day came up with these 12 principles. And I think the whole, like what they figured out was cartoons, like other studios just try to do something crazy. Just because it's a cartoon, you can do whatever you want. Where Disney would mimic life and then exaggerate it. So
And who's to argue with Disney?
I guess that's
Success
a good
rate,
question.
man.
Yeah, I don't know. So the animators at Disney came up with these 12 principles, and I guess if you follow, like once you know the 12 principles, you can see them at play, and you can tell that it makes a huge difference in animation. Okay, so like, and that's what the animation boot camp I went through, that's what they talk about.
Can
So
you give us
take-
an example of what some of the principles are?
Yeah, like,
It's like a 12-step program?
Yeah.
Do what?
Is this like a 12-step program? I mean, we are filmmakers drinking bourbon.
On
This,
the- on the
this
Reddit.
might be helpful.
Animation recovery.
We might
here.
need 12 steps.
So in motion design, you wouldn't use all 12. Some of them are for like traditional hand-drawn animation. Like an example is everything moves in arcs. So if you think of like arm movements versus just linear, yeah. And then, like overshoots. So something would move, like if you wave somebody's hand, it would go past and then come back a little. So you go past where you want it to stop. Just makes it interesting. You
Gives
might
it a little
anticipate
bounce.
it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you might move in the opposite direction before you move.
Is that like a follow-through in a baseball swing or like a golf swing where you go past the point of where it actually makes impact? It's, no, not at all.
Not at all.
Well, sort of. Because overshoot, there's also follow through. So if you have like, I don't know, if you think of like a cat tail. So I just had to animate a cat wagging its tail, and it was broken up into all these little pieces, right? So it looked like a bone. Like it was for Espelon, so it's like that Day of the Dead skeleton style. And so you animate, kind of pairing them all together. You animate one over, and then copy those keyframes to all the other ones, and just offset them. And then you get this nice, like, curling, fluid
Nice.
wave type thing
Cool.
happening.
So what would you say is, as a motion designer and learning those principles, is there any takeaways or anything you could give to the audience on the filmmaking side? If you look at, sort of, what we do as filmmakers, trying to tell stories, is there any takeaways from the animation world or the motion design world that you would throw out to filmmakers and say, hey, you guys should think about this or keep this in mind, because in post we might need to do this or that as motion designers?
Well, I think most of that would come from, like, you'd cover most of that in pre-production, right? Like, if you were going to add, like, I'm thinking of, like, a big example is, what was the Will Ferrell movie? It was, like, a serious movie, and it started, because the title, everybody references the title sequence.
Oh, Stranger Than Fiction?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where it's, like, all tracked and everything. Like, you wouldn't just shoot that and then ask somebody to...
No, you plan for it.
You would plan for that, yeah. But I would say it's kind of the opposite, like especially in character animation. Animation is you're bringing something to life, right? You're not just moving something; you're bringing it to life. So, like when I watch films, like I learn from that. I learn from the actor's performance and try to incorporate that into my motion design. I don't know that it would be like I learn more from watching a film than I think filmmakers would learn from watching animation. But that could be because I'm on this side of it. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, you're just trying to incorporate that real life motion. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you want it to look natural, but exaggerated.
That's good.
And yeah.
I think I can come up with something that you could transfer over from motion and just through this conversation is that everything, like there's a reason why things work and there's sets of rules for everything. There's always rules. So for what works in animation, like there's a reason why Disney films have that impact, and same thing for actual live action film. There's a reason why we do the things we do, and it's because it's tried and true, and somebody figured it out like in the 1920s, and it just works.
Yeah, I mean, in editing, I mean,
So follow the rules before you break
certain
them.
places you want to edit. There's, you know, that keep continuity, or if you're, you know, looking in the camera motion, you know, there's a certain time you want to start the dolly, stop the dolly, you know, a certain way the camera needs to dolly or move compared to where the talent is. So I think there's definitely similarities there.
For sure. Yeah, there are rules for everything. So like you say, you got to learn the rules.
Well, that's cool. Well, what about what's happening out there that you guys are excited about? I mean, last week I talked about the updates for, you know, Adobe CC. I know there was maybe some updates for After Effects as well.
By the way, I dove into the Premiere. The color tools are sweet.
Yeah, it's cool, man. There's some pretty sweet stuff in there. Some nice stuff. So, what are you guys excited about? What's happening right now in the industry? What's popping that's got you guys, you know, fired up to go out and make stuff?
Ryan, anything on the post side? I know you got a new tablet in there. I saw.
Oh yeah. Tell the listeners about this new wave technology.
Yeah.
What is that thing you bought?
Yeah, I just got a Cintiq Companion. I didn't realize that until we went to NAB, but it's its own computer. It's like a laptop that doesn't open. So it's, I guess, true tablet.
Wow.
But
It's like an iPad?
It's
Maybe not.
It's a little more robust
better,
than an
more
iPad.
sophisticated.
It's like a MacBook Pro without a lid that runs Windows. It's the only. I thought it was going to take me. It's been 15, 20 years since I've used a PC, probably. Yeah. And I thought it was going to be like a huge learning curve, like going backwards, remembering like the X is on the opposite side of the close button or what of the window. But it hasn't been too bad. And
Wait,
once
so
you're in a
it
program,
runs
it's all kind of the
Windows?
same. It runs Windows.
But it hooked up to your Mac.
So it hooks up to my Mac, but not through Windows. So like there's two ways you can run it. You can hook it up to your Mac. Actually, I guess there's three. You can just use it as its own standalone computer, which is pretty awesome because you can, like doing character work, I can rotate the screen and it gives me like this really long horizontal.
And you can actually draw on the screen, correct?
Yeah. So like in Photoshop, you can do. That's why I wanted it. It was for like cell style animation.
So frame by frame type.
Frame by frame, yeah.
That's
you can do that. So instead of drawing and looking at a screen, you just look at your hand moving.
Which that
and
could probably
see it on
have
the
some
screen.
great implications in post if you were like tracking, or if you were trying to do like some frame by frame type of edits or any sort of special effects work. It could come in handy, right?
Yes.
Or hand-drawn titles.
Yeah. Now, what model do you have? What is it? In case the listeners want to look it up.
I think it's called the Cintiq Companion 2. And there's different models. Like for motion graphics, they recommend like the top two. I can't remember what the 256 and 512. I think one's got 8 gigs of RAM. The other one's got 16.
Huh.
Jeez, and
That's crazy. Yeah.
Tablet?
Do they call
And
it
a
the
tablet.
companion because motion designers live a lone wolf life in front of their computers? Unlike us filmmakers, we have a whole crew and we have a whole team that we rally and drink bourbon with. But
I'm not
you guys are off in your own world. You need a companion.
It's your friend.
I'm not sure. Well, because they make a Cintiq that's just a giant. It's like a 27-inch monitor that you can draw on, but it's not a computer, and it doesn't go with you. This one goes with you, so that's why it's your companion.
It's your companion.
So you
I
could
don't
pick
need a
this up
dog.
and-
I just need a Cintiq companion. That's
you
my
could
best
pick
friend.
this up and finish an animation on the road.
Do what?
You could pick it up, take it out of the office,
Yeah.
finish an animation on the road, bring it back home, plug it back in, and sync it back up.
Yes.
That's insane.
That's cool, man.
Just like a laptop, though. I mean, it's no different than a laptop.
That's just really
Except I'm working. I work in OS X. I work on a Mac,
Yeah.
so I'm I would start it on a Mac and finish it on a
Clearly,
PC.
he's not being endorsed by Cintiq. It's no different than a laptop. It's basically a Windows laptop. That's
Well,
basically
in that regard,
No,
it's
yeah,
different
it's your
because
own
you're
thing.
drawing on
it's
the
a
screen.
Palm Pilot. Oh, goodness.
Awesome.
What about you,
Cool.
Alex? Anything you're
What
stoked
about
about
me?
or anything you've seen lately that's popped up? It seems like stuff's kind of chilled down a little bit since NAB, all the gear talk and all that jazz, right?
Yeah, it's kind of chilled out. I'm still really excited to get my hands on a Red Weapon, Red's new camera.
Yeah.
They're like nowhere right now. The only person I see, so they shot that Taylor Swift video on it,
Right, which was sick.
It was disgustingly good. And then I see, Shane Hurlbut, who's a big Hollywood cinematographer. He's shooting a series called Into the Badlands, about Japanese fighters or something.
Awesome.
And he's using the Red Weapon, so it looks pretty neat. But he's always posting new, what they're doing with it, reviews and stuff like that. I'm
Yeah.
just excited to get my hands on it and see if there's any difference.
I wonder if we
in
can
functionality.
get them on the show.
Who?
Right?
Red?
Yeah, let's just
Yeah.
let's get them on the show.
Let's definitely contact them. Yeah.
I think they would be. They would love to be on the show.
For sure. They're all about, kind of, I wouldn't say democratizing, but pretty much democratizing high resolution, beautiful digital cinema.
Yeah.
So
Cool, man.
So what is the Red Weapon for any listeners who might not
we
be
talked
in the
about
know?
it, but the Red Weapon is the new, brand new camera body from Red.
the new thing.
Yeah, so it uses the Dragon sensor, and it can shoot up to 8K, I believe, with the carbon fiber body. So
While you and the motion design kids were on the second floor at NAB looking at plugins, the rest of the filmmaking world was downstairs looking at the weapon.
physical options, physical objects.
All right.
But yeah, it's just a crazy, powerful new camera. I guess it takes better use of the Dragon sensor, and it's cleaner, and it's lower compression and higher frame rates and the whole 9 yards. So it's pretty
Sweet.
cool, and it's a whole new interface. It's got buttons on the side, and
It looks nicer.
Looks nicer,
Better design.
smaller, better design.
All right.
They're doing it right.
Faster, better.
Yeah. Faster, better, stronger.
20K.
20K.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you stack three of them together, you get 24.
There you go,
There you
man. Well, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. What about you? What do you got?
Nothing, man. I don't know. I've still trying to catch up to the stuff that's already been out, man. I'd love to
There's
get
a
my
lot,
hands on
for
that
sure.
on that lightweight Ronin, the one that's supposed to be lighter in weight, and I'd love to mess with that.
Yeah.
We should do a project where we just make something up
Just rent it?
for that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you could throw your C100 Mark II on there, I bet.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I think
Yeah.
that'd be cool. So
I've heard great things about those Ronins. Say better motors, better weight capacity. They're a little heavier
Yeah.
than the Movi, but
yeah.
yeah.
So, and again, for listeners out there, we'd love to hear what you're into, what you're doing. There's a section on fdbpodcast.com called Ask Me Anything.
Mm-hmm.
Chime in whenever you want. And actually, that's one of the things we didn't do last episode.
No.
We
Do we-
didn't
do
even
we have
tap
some?
in. Yeah, we do. So I figure we got Ryan on the show. Maybe he can weigh in.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got on here. There's some people on here that have some things to say. So let's see here.
I want to know what people are drinking.
That's true.
Yeah, we haven't plugged that in a while, too. Yeah, let us know what kind of bourbon you're drinking. Or not bourbon.
And if you're listening in your car,
Don't be drinking.
don't drink bourbon while you're driving.
Don't do that. That's a good point. That's a very good point.
So here's a listener. I don't know if this is a question, but yeah,
Comment?
I guess it is. So this is from an anonymous poster, but we still like you guys. If you're anonymous, you're still people.
Again,
You're
maybe
still
their
out
name
there.
is anonymous.
Yeah. So this is one of our 5,000 subscriber listeners throughout the world. One of the places where we have a lot of traffic. This is kind of interesting.
Russia?
Saudi Arabia.
Really?
Yeah, the Saudis really like what we're doing.
Good.
Saudi Arabia's really jamming. The UK, Canada. We got a lot of fans in Canada. I want to shout out to the Canadians out there.
Brothers up there. We've been up to Toronto multiple times.
Yeah,
we have.
Yeah, we love
The
Toronto.
Dock Challenge.
Yeah, a lot of good times up there. Drank a lot of bourbon up there.
Yeah.
Have you guys
Canadian
discussed
whiskey.
the
We
Dock
talked about-
Challenge?
yeah.
Not yet. We haven't really gotten into it.
Oh, man.
Nah,
Oh,
we'll
so
have
we-
to bring that up.
oh, yeah. We'll
have
talk
to
about
bring
it
Been in
next
a fire. That could be a whole show
But,
dedicated.
So anyway, here's our anonymous. Here he says, "Hey there. Firstly, let me say that I love the podcast.
Woo.
So far, so good. That's great.
Thanks, Anonymous.
As someone who has no experience in the world of filmmaking, I love being able to gain insights on the industry, and your knowledge and passion is so vivid and so great. man, I like this person.
Yeah.
This is great.
I'm glad it's coming through.
Going off of that, I had a question about capturing on film versus digital.
Nice.
All right. I figured that the filmmaking world would have switched over to completely digital, but learning that Birdman has been the first all digitally shot film to win an Oscar, it left me perplexed.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Alex, you're the DP in the
I
crowd.
will
I'll let
consider that
you.
a question.
I'll let you go ahead and speak to that.
So and there will be for a very long time the debate over film versus digital, which is better, etc. I think it's pretty well established now that they're just two different tools to the same end. So it's just a preference thing. What do you like the look of film? Do you like the look of digital? As digital cameras become more available and affordable, I think necessarily the film labs and film resellers, all that, their prices start to come down. So film then becomes more accessible. Yes, there are fewer film labs to actually like process your footage and stuff, but
Sure.
it becomes cheaper. Like you can rent a 35 millimeter camera for next to nothing.
Right.
You just got to buy the stock.
But there's another question on here, and it actually is from the same person.
Oh,
and
sweet. What's he?
I believe he or she
Yeah.
is not anonymous.
Ooh.
It is Izzy from New York.
Izzy.
That could go either way. Ryan, what are your thoughts? Izzy, is that a guy or a girl? That could go either way.
I would say it's a girl.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going girl too.
That's a sandwich shop here.
It doesn't matter either way. But in Cincinnati, there's a sandwich shop, Ryan pointed out, called Izzy's.
Yeah.
Either way, he or she follows up and says, to what you just said,
Yeah.
says, well, what do you think about before film goes the way of digital photography? Which that's a great point. I mean, the people using film for photography these days is fewer, and slim.
But the ones that do use film for still photography are like super, super passionate, and they're some of the most talented people out there. I just think, again, it's a whole preference thing. It's do you like the look? Do you like the grain? Do you like the workflow? Some people are really into the workflow, and when they're developing their own celluloid still images, they have more of a connection to it, so they actually take the time to really work it versus doing the digital Photoshop and all that, where they're, masking and covering up different portions of the photo to bring it down or up the exposure. You really think about it, versus just like slapping on an effect in a certain program and then just sending it out to the world.
Yeah. I'm going to say, I think Izzy there's always going to be
Purists.
someone who wants to go retro or who wants to do it the old way, or who wants to get a certain sound or a certain effect. I mean, there's still records that are cut on tape, few and far between, but they're there because they want to get a certain sound. So, although it is very minimal these days because of the cost associated with it, the aesthetic is still important enough that it's gonna be preserved at some level. Alex is right. There might only be one shop that does it. There might only be one or two places that will even develop it.
Yeah.
But I think there's always going to be at least the capacity to do it.
Yeah.
And the price of doing it will fluctuate. But I think at the end of the day, it just all depends. Ryan, you shoot photography. What are your thoughts?
Well, I also went to film school.
Yeah.
And I will say, film running through a camera is such a beautiful sound.
Oh,
and you don't get that with digital. Yeah. It's nice. It's a nice little perk.
There are some actors out there that say that it's tougher for them when with digital you don't hear that sound.
Yeah.
And so they're sitting there like waiting to hear that film sound on set, and they get kind of a little flustered.
Yeah.
And they know that
It's like when a Tesla pulls up.
you don't know.
You're like, why is your car not running?
Yeah, but they're also, so the actors are like, okay, now that it's digital, I know that the director can just run 50 takes back to back without stopping. Where with film cameras, they knew they had 12 minutes before that, or 11 minutes before that mag ran out, that they could get their stuff. So they really focused on it.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question. Let me see if I can remember how the guy asked it. When we were at NAB,
Yeah.
I met a guy who, he was into motion design, but I think he did film also, and he was a teacher. And he was asking about LEAPframe, and I told him, like, I do motion design,
Yep.
Brandon does digital film, and he was like, I hate that term.
Digital film.
He's like, as an educator, I hate that term because it's such an, like, you can't
An
have...
oxymoron.
Yeah. Film is celluloid. It's
Yeah.
this thing, and it can't be digital.
Well, here's what I would say is yes, on the science end of it, true. But to me, filmmaking is a different process than being a, quote, videographer.
Right.
So,
But
you know,
that's
when
different.
you send out a guy with, you know, a news cam and he gets his B-roll and he does, you know, to me, you know, the reason at LEAPframe we use the phrase digital film is because we like to approach our projects as filmmakers. And so we want to always think as if we're going to have a DP and a gaff and a grip and, you know, think through the whole process as, hey, we're here to make a short film, not just, hey, we're going to, you know,
Make you a video.
pull out a camcorder.
Yes.
So for us, it's more of the metaphor and the mindset of the filmmaking process versus the science behind it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Film's an idea, not a
Yeah.
technical. Yeah.
Screw that guy. Whatever his name is. Just kidding. We love you, whoever you are.
I'm friends with him on Facebook.
I got another
Yeah.
comment, another thing here. This is from, by the way, I'm not making this up. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Huh.
This question comes from Tupac's Spirit.
Yes.
Tupac's Spirit writes in, would you consider vlogging as filmmaking? I'd like to know your thoughts on it. I think it is filmmaking down to a core, but I am conflicted about the style. To me, it appears to be a very low-budget production model where the character/vlogger just sits there and shares their opinion on whatever. Sometimes it's funny, insightful, intriguing, but the style and overall content seems to ignore many of the more orthodox conventions of filmmaking. I think this could be a really fun discussion, says Tupac Spirit.
I'm gonna say I think it's more reality TV than filmmaking.
Okay. So we got one here for reality TV.
I wouldn't even go that far.
You wouldn't even call it reality
No,
TV?
With
It's below reality
they,
TV.
They still try to craft a story arc and a beginning, middle, end, and develop a character. With vlogging, you're
vlogging.
vlogging.
Although you might feel like you're being flogged
vlogging.
for watching it.
Yes, with
Yeah.
vlogging.
Vlogging.
No, it's just
Video blogging, for those of you who are not hip to the term.
Video blogging is not filmmaking,
So
in my opinion.
you would say it's more of a sophisticated diary.
Yeah, it's a video diary.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
I
more
mean,
of
you
an
know.
author than you are a filmmaker.
Sure, but I mean, at the end of the day, there's still a camera. You still have to roll tape. You still have to.
But going back to your term of filmmaking and the aesthetics and the principles involved in that, there's none of that in vlogging.
I agree.
So yeah, it's not filmmaking.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
No.
So Tupac, your spirit, we love you. California knows how to party.
For sure.
But definitely vlogging, I would not consider filmmaking for sure.
Not
But I
Yeah.
do think that from a podcaster who drinks bourbon while they podcast,
Yeah.
all vloggers should be completely wasted before they, before they vlog. What do you guys think?
They should be flogged before they vlog.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, that was a lot of fun, man. We got some great people writing in. All the listeners out there, definitely check out fdbpodcast.com. Click on Ask Me Anything.
Try to put up that film that you guys talked about.
Yeah, we'll throw up the old film.
links
and
to the
then,
Wacom.
Exactly. And then, check out prior episodes. We're up to episode 6 now, so we've got some really great stuff that we've recorded. If you haven't listened, go back and listen.
Yeah.
And we would love nothing more than for you to leave us a great review on iTunes. We've got
for sure.
We've got like 15 reviews. We're like 4-star. We're a 4-star podcast.
Nice. People are actually chiming in. Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple people early on who gave us like a 1-star, but like
Jealousy.
they didn't even comment.
Jealous.
You know what I mean? Haters gonna hate.
They are.
gonna
Maybe they're
hate.
vloggers that don't like our podcast.
I would like to put out there, if the people who gave us 1 star are listening, maybe they're fans of the show.
Maybe.
If you're listening, we'd love to have you on the show to talk about why we got 1 star.
Well, if they gave us 1 star, they're probably not fans. And so they probably didn't keep up.
Either way,
But
if
also,
you're
if
listening,
it was a mistake, go back and change it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we'd love to have your reviews. We'd love to, spread the word,
Yeah.
share the good news of filmmakers drinking bourbon. we're going to continue to try to push this show and bring you great guests like Ryan Woolfolk, animator, motion designer.
At LEAPframe.
Wow.
Nowhere to go but up from here.
Nowhere to go but
This is your lowest point.
No, this is your lowest point.
Oh,
yeah.
Your guess from this point on
no,
will be
man,
much
you were
better.
good. You were insightful, so we appreciate that.
So we don't know too much again.
Well, man, I think that wraps up episode 6.
Next
It's
week,
been great.
we'll have to get you on location from Mexico.
Yeah, you're going to be on location.
good.
I don't know if we can call in from that.
I'll go up to Chichen Itza or whatever,
right.
the top of the pyramid, and call you.
All right, that sounds good. We don't want to don't piss off the wife on like the first week.
Ancient Mayan spirits.
You
All right.
So, hey, Ryan, thanks for being on the show,
thanks for
man. We
stopping by,
appreciate
man.
it.
Thanks for bringing me on.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers.